Game I was most excited about this weekend, America's Game of the Week on Fox. Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings from US Bank Stadium, which for the record, Minnesota's going to play. Minnesota wins 27-25. I'm just going to say this because I've said it all season long. If the Vikings beat Detroit next Sunday night, and what a game that will be. Holy cow. You want to talk about a home field advantage for Minnesota as the 1 seed. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC got to run through Minnesota and that fan base and that home field advantage. Shout out to Vikings fans because y'all show up and show out. That place is deafening. But Minnesota wins 27-25. Sam Darnold's the story once again. So Sam Darnold just yesterday, 33 of 43, 377 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did have an interception. He had a QBR 0 to 100 of 79 and a passer rating of 116. You know, the thing with Sam Darnold, and I have been very, very, very cautious on my buying into Sam Darnold. The reason is because I got burnt before. Sam Darnold, I didn't have a show back in the day, but in 2018, that NFL draft, and what all of a sudden looks like an amazing quarterback draft. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Josh Rosen didn't work out, but those 4 have really panned out. Took the first 2 a long time to do so. Love Darnold. He's got a big arm. He moves well. He's a little reckless, a little Josh Allen-esque, at least in that regard. Then he goes to the Jets, and what have I said about the Jets for years? It's the place where all young quarterbacks' dreams go to die, and evidently old quarterbacks' dreams these days as well. Well, he doesn't work with the Jets. And then where does he go? Carolina. Yeah, Baker's been great since leaving Carolina, and Sam's been great since leaving Carolina. A little detours for those 2 with the Rams and with the Niners, respectively. But I think what we've got to talk about Sam Darnold is a couple things. We'll get to the contract stuff in about 3, 4, 5 minutes. But it is yet another win in the column for, man, in the NFL is a quarterback where you go matters. A wide receiver, by and large, can be successful. I mean, I saw Malik Neighbors yesterday with the Giants just crush it. And now that he gets Drew Lock, nice backup quarterback. Probably not the greatest thing for the Giants that they won, but at the same time, we know Malik Neighbors can ball. Okay, we see, I mean, at the beginning of Myles Garrett's career when the Browns sucked, we still were like, yeah, that guy's awesome. But as a quarterback, you need so many variables, even the best, to go in your favor in order to be successful. The fact that with 1 or 2 things going his way and not much else, Joe Burrow doing what he's doing in Cincinnati, it's remarkable. Get to him in about a half hour. But the coach has to be the right guy. And he needed an offensive line. And he needed at least 1 really, really talented receiver, preferably 2. It sure as heck be nice to have a good running game. Defense, we'll see. And what the heck division are you in? Well, Sam Darnold happens to play in the toughest division in football, but he's got Kevin O'Connell. And he's got, the best receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson. All due respect to Jamar Chase, JJ's the man. And Jordan Addison, one of the best number 2 receivers. And TJ Hawkinson, Iowa tight end. That's what they do in Iowa. Okay. By the way, O-line's really good. They lost Darisaw for the season, their left tackle. They haven't lost since. And for those that are maybe not watching close enough to the games and maybe have this opinion, one that I've had about another quarterback I've been skeptical about for some time, Brock Purdy. Well, this is Brock Purdy. Kevin O'Connell calling plays. He's got better offensive line than Purdy had, but comparable weapons. Aaron Jones running the football. Great defense. Brian Flores ain't going to be in Minnesota for much longer, folks. That guy's going to get a head coaching job, or should. You're like, some of this really goes in Sam's favor. Here's the difference. And this is where you do actually have to watch the games and not just look at stat sheets, to where Darnold's numbers aren't quite as good as Purdy's last year. Pretty darn solid. Matter of fact, we could show you Sam's numbers this season. Great graphic here by Alfred once again. Sam's 4th in touchdowns, doesn't throw a lot of picks, 3rd in yards, 9th in completion percentage, and 5th in completion. I'm sorry, 5th in passer rating. So Sam Darnold, top 10 in basically everything. He's been fantastic. By the way, should be a sneaky MVP favorite or candidate, at least certainly if the Vikings beat the Lions on Sunday. I just want to put that out there. Okay. The difference between him and Brock Purdy, again, eye test. How many throws? Just last week against the Seahawks when he made that throw to Justin Jefferson to beat Seattle last week, it's like, oh my God, that's like a Mahomes throw. That's like a Josh Allen throw. Like, oh dang, Justin Herbert can make that throw. Like, where's that been? Well, it had wasted away with a horrible organization, the Jets, and another horrible organization, the Carolina Panthers. And he had a cup of coffee with the San Francisco 49ers, got in the Shanahan system, backed up Purdy for a year, ended up starting one game at the end of the season, kind of got a football education in some ways in the way Baker Mayfield did with the Rams. Speaking of Baker, who accomplished more objectively in Cleveland than Darnold did with the Jets, no question about it. Baker went to the playoffs, won a playoff game. But there was always a hard ceiling for a guy like Baker going to Cleveland, and maybe even harder one going to Carolina. But he goes to the Rams. He has a couple of nice starts with the Rams. Remember that Thursday night game when he was ran for like 48 hours and then led a 99-yard game-winning drive? Like, just being with a smart offensive coach like Sean McVay. Same thing with Darnold, with Kyle Shanahan. Recalibrate, figure out what you got to do, learn to play the position smartly, efficiently, and to the best of your God-given abilities at the NFL level. And now you're seeing the best of Sam Darnold. You're seeing the guy at a USC that folks like myself, who was a Darnold guy at the time, thought, hey, maybe he could be that. I mean, even Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback football, sure helps he's got Andy Reid. It sure helped Brady that he had Bill Belichick and the smart coaching staff in New England to ease him along until eventually when Brady became GOAT Brady, then he could pretty much go on by himself at that point because we saw what he did in Tampa. It's the greatest ever, obviously. Joe Montana didn't hurt matters. He had Bill Walsh, all the great teams. It didn't help that some of those Steelers teams had, Chuck Noll. I mean, we can go up down in NFL history. And so it's for these young quarterbacks. I mean, is it a coincidence? We'll get to the Washington Commanders in about 10 minutes. Is it a coincidence that the two best looking rookie quarterbacks went to the two best, or just so happened to be with the two best coaching staffs? Jane Daniels is crushing it with Dan Quinn as his head coach. Cliff Kingsbury's his OC. Bo Nix has been really good in Denver with Sean Payton, the quarterback whisperer. Oh, shocker, Caleb Williams, who's had his moments certainly with Matt Eberflus and Thomas Brown. Yeah. Oh, and Shane Waldron, who got fired before him. Drake May shows promise, but, Alex Van Pelt, I think, who believes the Patriots OC, a little shaky, doesn't have very many weapons, line's bad. What a shocker. Two best rookie quarterbacks have been with the two best coaches, at least, that have gotten the rookie quarterbacks. Michael Penix Jr., we'll see. I love the kid, but only 2 starts in. Where you go matters. Unless you're Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton Manning was never going to fail in the NFL. He was a generational talent. Andrew Luck was never going to fail. I thought Trevor Lawrence was in that category. I don't think Trevor's failed. He hasn't lived up to being the number 1 pick. I still believe in Trevor, but where you end up goes a long, long, long way. I mean, you don't think it's helped Lamar Jackson that he's had John Harbaugh? It's not to discredit these guys. Michael Jordan needed Phil Jackson. Steph Curry needed Steve Kerr. Tim Duncan needed Greg Popovich. That's just how it works. And so shout out Sam Darnold, who the question now becomes, does Minnesota keep him? Should they, franchise tag him, sign him to a long-term extension? So I hate the franchise tag, but if push comes to shove, the Vikings are going to have to at least employ that. Sam is going to get some calls from teams. I wouldn't mind if my Steelers, put in for Mr. Darnold's services. The Raiders might. Other teams could throw their hat in the ring. Here's the conversation that I don't love. I understand, but I'm not a crazy fan of. Is the, hey, Darnold needs to take a discount to stay with the Vikings because that's the best situation of the teams that could potentially be available. We mentioned O'Connell, the weapons, the defense won't be as good because Flores is going to take a head coaching job in all likelihood, but still excellent situation. So he's got to take less to stay with them because it's a better spot. Here's what I would say. If I'm Sam Darnold's camp, okay, while that is true, while Connell might be right now the coach of the year, now my Steelers have kind of tailed off. Denver may not make the playoffs. We'll see. I think O'Connell right now would be my coach of the year. All those things are true. But if I'm Sam Darnold in Sam Darnold's camp, I'd say, well, at the same time, y'all didn't go crazy far with Kirk Cousins. I mean, you made the playoffs one year when you won all those one-score games, then you lost to Daniel Jones. And then Kirk got hurt last year, and you ran through a bunch of backups. You weren't that good. Sure, J.J. McCarthy's there, but is J.J. McCarthy can we put that up one more time, going to give you that? Maybe. I mean, O'Connell's a great coach, and Justin Jefferson's a monster, but I doubt it. Certainly not off the bat. Don't mess with a good thing you got going. Again, this is not system quarterback stuff. This isn't okay, he's going to work off play action. We're going to kind of, we're going to be a death by 1,000 cuts type of offense. No. They're like, Sam, sling it. Just throw it all over the yard, okay? We trust you. Made some big-time throws. Threw the one interception, but made some big-time throws over the course of that game and all season long. The throw against Seattle to Jefferson could not have been thrown any better than that to win the game last week. So, and by the way, if nothing else, if we need any evidence that the Vikings really like Sam Darnold, here's Sammy after the game with his team. I think they like him. And how cool of a moment is that for Sam Darnold? All the stuff that he's been through in his career, having to deal with the Jets and Carolina, and nobody believes him. He's backing up Purdy in San Francisco, and now he's getting his, as the March Madness song goes, one shining moment, and he has not only capitalized on it, he's made himself a lot of money. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.